Greetings. This is a video report and astrolog of today's magnitude 7 earthquake that struck southern Yukon Territory, Canada. Now this area was in the crosshairs for a future event, as I did target the Yukon Bay region, which is just positioned just about 20 kilometers to the south. So it's on the exact line of the Uranus station of 2022 and 2020. We can see them in this chart. There's also a Jupiter station further to the west that I was looking at, and I was really focusing on May 2025 as this time frame due to the position of Jupiter. And today's earthquake revealed that we should have been looking specifically at the Uranus position. We're now looking at a snapshot of the exact time of the earthquake to determine all of these celestial influences that were in play at the time of the event. Note that the Sun is squaring both lunar nodes perfectly just a few hours prior to the earthquake event itself. Now, this very powerful grand trine has taken place between Saturn, Jupiter and Mercury. So Mercury filled this spot perfectly at 24 and 25 degrees within 13 minutes of a perfect grand trine. And in behind we have Uranus, Neptune at 28, 29 degrees, and there's Lilith forming a nice, interesting little T-square as well, or a trine aspect. And importantly, Mercury will be moving into that spot in 4 days' time. If we have a look, there's also a connection between Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars is having an interaction with both planets as well. So there's a lot going on in behind, but importantly, we have some very powerful celestial interactions that are in play, and Mercury will be making an even stronger input in 4 days' time. Now this is the smoking gun and the reason for today's earthquake. Note the station of Uranus back in 2022 in the month of January. We can see it marking location perfectly, and have a look at the orientation and angle of the lunar nodes at 28 degrees. Now importantly, at the time of today's earthquake, Uranus has moved and hit that exact spot on the 7th and 6th of December of 2025. So we can see that Uranus on the right hand side has moved into the same position that the lunar node was at the time of the Uranus station back in 2022, giving us an exact date of a future event. Now just to show how precise this is, we're looking at the station of Uranus back in 2022, and the orientation of the node is exactly 28 degrees 45 minutes. And if we have a look at the exact time of the earthquake, Uranus has moved into 28 degrees 48 minutes. So there's just 3 minutes of separation there. In other words, around about 8 hours of separation. So Uranus would have hit that spot perfectly as it's retrograding back into that exact position, which is quite fascinating. It just shows you how accurate it is. And if we use it properly, we can actually pinpoint an exact earthquake date in the future on the exact day using this same methodology. We're now looking ahead, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm concerned that we may be moving into a pretty dangerous time in terms of earthquake potential. If we have a look, we have Venus moving into a very dangerous aspect squaring both lunar nodes, that red T-square in the chart. But importantly, have a look at what's going on with Uranus. Uranus is still sitting at 28 degrees, and Mercury moves into the opposite side where it makes an opposition while connected into Lilith in conjunction, and that's connected into Neptune, which is at 29 degrees forming a trine. Importantly, Neptune is now reaching a station, so there's a lot going on, and I do feel that there may be a much larger earthquake to come. So this event today could be a foreshock for a much larger event, or another very major earthquake somewhere across the globe and potentially greater than 7.5 magnitude. Now, I did make a post on December 5 regarding some very strong pains in the top of the head, some stabbing pains that I did correlate to a potential rare earthquake to come. And this could be the southern Yukon earthquake that occurred this morning. It could be the foreshadows for that. Now, while I'm making this video, I'm starting to get these stabbing pains again. Instead of being on the right-hand side of the top of the head, it's slightly more centralized and moving towards the left-hand side. So it may be in a slightly different location, but I'm concerned that it could be the Yukon Bay region that I was concerned earlier on in the year. And just looking at the upcoming station of Uranus in 2026 in the month of February, as we can see, it's marked over a danger location on the Earth, and I did make a public video on this. If we have a look, it's marking Seattle, San Francisco and Portland for a future event. Importantly, if we note the nodal orientation at 10 degrees in the chart, it will take Uranus a very long time to reach that point. In fact, 22 years. So in 2048, it'll move into that 10-degree nodal point, and I will be looking at something different for this future event for the Cascadia region potentially. That concludes this video report and astrolog of today's magnitude 7 earthquake that struck southern Yukon Territory, Canada region. Thanks for watching.